So here we have the new Insta360 Go 3S and the older DJI Osmo Action 2. Both cameras are capable of shooting videos in 4K resolution, but there's actually a huge difference between these cameras, both in features and when it comes to price. The Action 2 is priced at $249 and has also received a welcoming boost in internal storage. So now with 128 gigabytes from the previous 32 gigabytes. And in addition, you can also use a micro SD card directly with the Action 2 without having to purchase additional accessories. The Go 3S does also come with internal storage, either 64 gigabytes at $400 or 128 gigabytes at $430. But this requires an additional accessory if you want to transfer the files from the camera over to a micro SD card in a more convenient way. So in theory, you get twice the storage or more at a cheaper price with the Action 2. But how does these two cameras compare when it comes to image quality, audio, features, and overall use? Let's start with image quality. Now, looking at the side-by-side clips here, there's not much difference in my eyes. However, the Action 2 has a more natural and true-to-life color compared to the Go 3S, which is a bit more saturated and has a more reddish tone to it if you look at my arm here. As of details, both cameras, or actually the Go 3S, is set to medium sharpness because the Action 2 has no sharpness control, so DJI is choosing this for you, which is a downside. However, when you use the Cine-like, the sharpness will be slightly less. I can also see that some of the clips are overexposed on the Action 2 here compared to the Go 3S, but this can easily be fixed by changing the exposure value to something like minus 0.3 or 0.7. Now, out of the box, they both look good, but each camera does also have their own flat color profile. So the Action 2 has the Cine-like and the Go 3S has a flat profile, and each profile gives you more dynamic range, but also requires some color correction and grading. Now, both cameras are capable of recording videos in slow motion, so we have the Go 3S at 2.7K 100fps and the Action 2 at 4K 120fps. So a little bit more resolution on the Action 2 here, but there's also one more thing to note when it comes to slow motion footage, and that is with the Go 3S, you will need to export the slow motion footage through the Insta360 Studio or mobile app. Otherwise, you won't get the full quality and there will be no stabilization added, which is a bummer. So hopefully there is a way to change this in the future via a firmware update that allows these clips to be recorded as a normal video and not a pro video. This is an audio test with the Go 3S and this is what that sounds like. I'm having the Action 2 next to it, so I'm just gonna replay the clip here so you get the exact same voice, the exact same sentence, the exact same everything. The Go 3S is recording with the standard color profile, the field of view is set to Action, and the Action 2 is recording with the ultra wide field of view and the color profile is set to normal. This is an audio test with the Go 3S and this is what that sounds like. I'm having the Action 2 next to it, so I'm just gonna replay the clip here so you get the exact same voice, the exact same sentence, the exact same everything. The Go 3S is recording with the standard color profile, the field of view is set to Action, and the Action 2 is recording with the ultra wide field of view and the color profile is set to normal. When it comes to high quality audio from an external microphone, the only one compatible at this time is the Action 2. Unfortunately, the Go 3S is not compatible with either Bluetooth or a plug and play microphone, but hopefully this is something that we can see in the future. So the only way you can capture better audio with the Go 3S at this time is to use something like the DJI Mic 2, which has that internal recording which you can later sync up in post. As for the Action 2, if you already have the DJI Mic or Mic 2 combo, you can actually connect this transmitter directly into the USB-C port on the side and you're basically good to go. When it comes to specs, there's actually a few differences. The Go 3S has a 1/2.3-inch sensor and a pretty narrow field of view. I'm not sure exactly how narrow this is, but I believe it sits around 123 degrees. The Action 2, on the other hand, has a 1/1.7-inch CMOS sensor and a 155-degree field of view, and a higher bitrate of 130 versus the 120 on the Go 3S. So in theory, clearly the Action 2 is the better camera. Both cameras can also capture photos. The Action 2 capture photos at 12 megapixels versus 9 megapixels on the Go 3S, I believe. I'm not quite sure how many megapixels the Go 3S is capturing, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is if you like the image or not. Now, when it comes to design, the Go 3S is the clear winner in my opinion. Not because of the looks, but rather how it's built, and that it's more protected than the Action 2 itself. The Action 2 has no lens guard to protect the lens, so if you drop this face down, it's bye-bye. The Go 3S, on the other hand, is protected by a changeable lens guard, so if you scratch or damage the lens guard, you can easily replace this with a new one. Both cameras are also magnetic. The difference here is that the Go 3S has a magnetic backplate, so you can mount this on a flat surface and it will record straight out, for example. But with the Action 2, which has the magnetic part on the bottom, if I were to mount this in the same spot, it would just record downwards or upwards. But if I use the magnetic pendant with the Action 2, for example, I'm able to capture the exact same videos as the Go 3S, but also up and down. Now, when it comes to versatility in use cases, both cameras are waterproof down to 10 meters or 33 feet and can be used with or without the dive case using the camera unit alone. However, the Action 2 has that built-in screen on the camera module itself, so framing your shots underwater is going to be a lot easier without having to purchase a dive case. Now, when it comes to vlogging and daily use, there's not many differences between these two. It rather comes down to which you prefer and the budget, as well as colors and field of view. Like the Go 3S has an action pod that can be used as a monitor, where the Action 2 requires a connection to the app, so the Go 3S is more convenient to use in this area. There's also a flip screen on the Go 3's action pod, which is significantly larger than the screen on the Action 2, so vlogging could be easier on the Go 3S. However, the Action 2 has such a wide field of view, which also means that you can hold it a little bit closer and still get that wide shot and see yourself and all the settings on the screen. And because it has a 155-degree field of view, you don't really need to think about framing. But when it comes to vlogging, battery life is also essential. So on paper, the Action 2's camera module can record for 70 minutes and the Go 3S unit 38 minutes. So there's actually a huge difference here between the standalone camera units themselves. And with the screen module that I have with the Action 2, it can record for 160 minutes and the Go 3S with the Action Pod 140 minutes. So on paper, the Action 2 is the clear winner, but in reality, the results are a bit different. So I've been doing 3 tests over the past week now, and all tests have been done 3 times. The Go 3S won all the tests and recorded for at least 130 minutes with the Action Pod, and the Action 2 managed to record for about 90 minutes with the screen module without having any overheating issues. And when it comes to recording with the cameras alone here and in 4K 30 FPS, which is what I use, the Action 2 only managed to record for 34 minutes before it ran out of storage. So it didn't actually overheat, nor did the battery run out, but the storage is what killed it. As for the Go 3S unit, it managed to record for 32 minutes before it ran out of battery, so I would assume that the 128GB version of the Action 2 would be the winner in this case using the camera unit alone, which is actually quite surprising. And as for overheating, no issues were actually found on these tests, and my conclusion is that both cameras are capable of recording long videos, but as of numbers, the Go 3S is the clear winner. There's also another thing to know, which is that these cameras do split the files when you record longer videos. So the Go 3S will record 30 minutes at a time before it starts a new clip, and the Action 2 will record for about 5 minutes before it starts a new clip, which can actually be quite annoying if you have multiple sessions where you record longer videos. But all in all, the Go 3S versus the Action 2, you won't go wrong with either of these cameras. If you're looking for a small, subtle action camera, either of these will do the job. The differences between these cameras are minor if you mainly upload videos to social media. It also depends if you need a wider field of view, which the Action 2 has, or not. So for motovlogging, for example, I prefer to use the Action 2 because it has that wider field of view and can record 4K 60 FPS, which looks much better on a motorbike. And this is where you're limited with the Go 3S 2S, which only records videos at 4K up to 30 FPS. But for hiking, for example, I would prefer the Go 3S because of the head mount, so there's pros and cons to both. The Action 2 is a much cheaper camera, which offers more storage, higher frame rates, and a wider field of view, but the record time is not as long as the Go 3S, for example. The Go 3S is expensive, but offers more versatility with the Action Pod, as well as longer battery life, more features like Apple Find My, and better AI editing. Perhaps some better low light quality as well. So which of these you'll end up with is gonna be completely up to you, but I really do hope that this video could help, and whichever you get or have, let me know your thoughts on these two cameras side by side in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, let me know by dropping a like, and also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the upcoming videos. So that's gonna be everything for today's video. So until next time, take care and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.